Alrighty, welcome to chapter 5. We're going to be finishing all the remaining transactions in the bank account in this video, and I'm going to show you kind of how I'm able to speed up some of these catch-up type books where, let's say, I have somebody, and this is exactly how the transactions come through, where I have 8 months worth of transactions to catch up for the year, and then we have to submit that for tax filing, and we have another 3 months. I will charge, a prorated fee for some of this work where it'll be a little less than my normal monthly fee to do the catch up because I'm able to do a lot of this bulk work. But I'm going to teach you how to do bulk work really efficiently in this next one. So far, we've been going month by month and setting the date range to be month by month. But what I want to do is show you best practices on how to really do a lot of these categorizations quickly. So when we go back to our transactions, so we have about 600 transactions left. And we have a lot of these are rules, right? Like out of 50 transactions that we're seeing here, almost all of these are rules. But remember, we want to kind of review and make sure that all of these match up, right? So there's two ways to do this. You can categorize or match and sort it by your match, and it'll show you everything. And the reason I didn't show you this before is because let's say you have a date range selected and you do it, you set this categorizer match, it'll start showing you a lot of different dates. It resets your filter. So it doesn't really work in the previous chapter, what we were doing there. But you can do this and you could review everything if you wanted this way. But to me, especially if you're doing bulk work, there's a little bit more of an efficient way. And that is actually by sorting by description. Because you'll see now all of our Amazons are in an order. And especially this makes it super easy to see. But what we'll also see is, and let's see if we can find an example here, you'll see that we'll have transactions that we can set a rule for, and we know that that rule is going to be very worthwhile because there's a bunch of these that are sitting right here. So let's go back to the first one, and let's just start knocking a bunch of these out, right? So we know that the 6th Street printing, we can check that the payee is selected on the rule. This one's good to go. A-Smart, we've had it before, and there are definitely other transactions, which is why we have a vendor in here. And let's say because it's been a little bit, we don't remember what it was. This is a really good tool to use. You can click categorization history. And right now it's saying last 12 months because it's really looking at today's date, which is October 2024, looking back in the last 12 months. But if you were doing this real time on a set of books where you're within the last 12 months, it will actually show it to you. But let's go and figure out what this A-Smart is. And I like to open new tabs sometimes. So I'm going to open the expenses tab in a new tab. Going to go to vendors. I'm going to search A-Smart. And we'll see the transaction list. And we're seeing that A-Smart was previously small kitchen tools and supplies. I can actually copy this, go back to the transactions and paste it here. And that just kind of makes it easy. I'm going to hit add. All right, so now we can do some bulk work. We have a bunch of Amazon transactions here, and it looks like 49 of these are good to go. And again, let's say you knew that some of those Amazon transactions in that particular scenario were for different things, right? Then you would go and you would categorize it. Maybe it's a small kitchen tool supply that you ordered, or maybe you're ordering some test coffee. You can get really granular with it, but we know generically, as the owner and how we spend our money, I'm going to be getting office supplies and random things that I need from Amazon. So NDKS is donuts. We set up a chart of accounts for this actually. And if we go back here, because we're buying donuts, what is that for? We can look at our chart of accounts that we set up, and we can see that we have a baked goods category. So looks like if we're trying to look at it and deduce what we're doing, it looks like the owner tried to sell some baked goods between January 1st to February, and then looks like either they switched to a different vendor or just didn't order them again and decided it wasn't worth their time. But this was a good enough thing to add in my opinion, because let's say they continue to do baked goods, you'd want to know what the difference is because you're going to buy wholesale baked goods and then resell them. So your cost of goods is good to be in a different section compared to dairy or grocery because the dairy and grocery is more specifically for making the coffee, which is a different like product. So almost think about your income streams and your cost of goods sold, kind of like how we have a merchandise sales income tab, income, kind of like how we have a merchandise sales income account and we have a merchandise cost COGS account. You can go ahead and accept all of these. Austin Utilities, all of these look good. Central Insurance Agency, all of these look good. Central Market, all of these look good. All right. We can accept all of these rules here. Okay. So we have a couple of Chase Bank. And again, these numbers can vary, right? So I like to do these more in batch than to set up rules because I think it's harder to really set up rules for everything and make sure that they're correct rather than setting up rules specifically for what you need so that you don't really have an issue with glancing over it and knowing that it's going to be correct. And accept. So now we have all of our Chase payments. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these for now because I actually want to go ahead and save some of the most tedious work for last. So we have Chase payments to landlord, and I'm going to see here that I have a rule, and it does look like it's a Chase payment to landlord, but it's for 160 and it's on 223, right? So this looks kind of weird because there's a payment on August, July. Let's go the other way. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So all of these look good. So I'm going to actually go ahead and leave that one as well. And what I can do is I can select all of these and then just uncheck the one that I want to review and figure out what's going on. I'm gonna hit accept. We have Chase transfers for the payments I made to myself. So let's go ahead and set those. We have two Chase transfer out. Again, I'm going to leave these for later because, this doesn't look like something that I normally have. We have a couple of Costco transactions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these. And actually, since Costco is a regular vendor that they seem to be shopping at, starting in June of 23, let's go ahead and create a rule for Costco. Dairy and grocery is where would I be buying from Costco. So I'm going to hit a rule, Costco, test that rule. We have, looks like about 9. Oh, he's right. Perfect. All right. Dairy, grocery, Costco looks good. Go ahead and save that. CSC service works, repairs and maintenance looks good. Sales tax liability looks good to me. Um, Easy Ice looks good to me. Figure Eight Coffee looks good to me. Google looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these rules. Dues and subscriptions, HEB, dairy and grocery costs. Yep. Got a lot of our squares. So this is probably going to be a good bulk of what we have left. You can see we have a couple of other. Oh, looks like I skipped over a lot of the ones that I was just hit X here to uncheck all of those real quick. Scroll to the top so we're actually looking at this correctly. We have a April. Don't know if I missed that or if it just for some reason never sorted itself up there, but that's fine. Sales tax liability, we're leaving all of these for later. HEB looks good. Okay, so let's go ahead and select the HEB. So we have this one up here and we have the HEBs, so let's hit accept. We have IKEA 82. We're going to put this into office supplies. Okay, sales tax owed, that looks good. Home Depot looks good. Good, good. Go ahead and accept. We have a deco, so let's look what that is. Cafe Essentials. So we're going to put this into, and we can set up a rule for this. So we have multiple, and we'll probably have more in the future. So deco, and we're going to say this is coffee beans and supply. We can test it if we want. It looks like there's like 6. Save. Restaurant Depot, if we want to look that up. Yep. Looks like it's another restaurant place to buy things. Rest. Go ahead and create a rule for this since there's few here. Still look good. Rising Tide Coffee Roasters. Looks like there's only one of these. We'll add that since there's only one right there. Okay, so we have a deco, and we're gonna have a ton of squares. So this will feel like we're knocking out a huge chunk of the what we're doing here. Let's see, we have 385 items. At about 385, so let's see how many we can knock out here. It's being weird, so let me go ahead and hit refresh here on the screen, on the website. Okay, so let's continue knocking out these square transactions. And yeah, sometimes QuickBooks can be weird, so refreshing the page before you freak out that something's broken or you did something wrong is always a good way to start. And what we can really do, right, is if you're really trying to bulk do these, is you can show a lot more of these. We can do 100 if we really wanted to, so that it helps us, because there's probably a lot of squares transactions. And the reason I'm kind of scrolling like this is because I'm trying to see if there's anything that looks weird name-wise. And all the sales, generally any money coming in from Square is always going to be sales. So this rule is pretty straightforward. This suggestion's good, so I'm going to keep it there. This suggestion is good, so I'm going to keep it there. Yep, we can accept 89 transactions here. All right, so we got more Square transactions. We have a payment as sticker meal, which is obviously a sticker company. However, what I want you to think about here is sticker going to be a merchandise or is sticker actually something we're putting on the paper cup, right? So in this context, what I want to give you is you can ask your client or you can ask for support and figure out what this was really for. But in this situation, what I'm going to say is I bought these stickers to use on my cups because I didn't want to keep stamping cups every morning. So I'll put paper cups and goods and I'll hit add here for sticker meal. Target, these are good. Venmo, we know our merchandise sales. Vistaprint are not paper cups and goods, so we're going to accept these and then look at the Vistaprints. So the Vistaprint are going to be merchandise costs. So I'm going to expense Vistaprint merch purchase. Apply and accept. Got Waterfall. These look good. Whole Foods looks good. Alrighty, we're almost at the end of the bulk catch-up work that we're doing here. Then we have a couple of edge case scenarios where we have to figure out what's going on, and then we'll be good to go. We can work from the bottom up here because that'll probably be more fun to see the final list being so short. Okay, perfect. Everything looks good in terms of rules. I messed that up, so let me reselect this. It's going to do bottom up, but I can't. Right. So we have a couple more, only 11 more transactions to figure out. And these are going to be all from the amortization schedule, right? This one is lease expenses rent. I want to actually start with these two down here. So we can see that there were transfer outs, and usually, if we remember correctly, and we can go and check in our categorize, right? Say chase transfer outs. What was the category here? Chase transfer. Let's read this. Let's try that one. Yeah, so we can see that the Chase 5,000 usually happens on the end of the month, right? So this is a different type of transfer. And as an owner, these are distributions. These are payments that you're taking out of the account when there's extra cash, and it's not part of what you would normally pay yourself. This is where you take out profits, right? So again, you need to ask because let's say it doesn't have the same account number on there. Usually it'll say transfer to account and it'll give you some number that can help you understand which account that it was transferred to. In this uh in this case, we're going to assume it's going to the same exact account that we're usually taking money into or taking money out of into the next one. And so again, the context for this one that I have for this transaction is that as a distribution, I'm taking profits out of my own account. So I'm going to say prithvi, and we're going to put distributions in. Oop, I reset my work, so we're going to have to do that again. Prithvi distributions. You can accept those two. Okay, so now we have these chase payments, have this landlord payment. So when you have an extra payment to the landlord, this can be a multitude of different things in the scenario of what's really going on. Let's say as a business owner, and it's okay if you don't really understand this, but you have an outstanding CAMREC that you have to pay. And a CAMREC, without getting into too much detail, is if you share, let's say you're in unit one and there's five other units in that same space, there are a couple things that you guys might share. And so the landlord asks for reimbursement, right? But let's say this was a repair that the landlord paid for and asked you to reimburse. What I'll say is I'm paying the landlord for repairs and maintenance. And you can hit add because this is one of those unique situations where you really do want to check and make sure that your rules make sense. So here we're going to say it's a repairs and maintenance for the landlord, and we're going to hit add. Now, for the rest of these transactions, we're going to go through the amortization schedule and split all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and sort the dates so I don't accidentally split one of the transactions wrong. I'm going to pull up my amortization schedule and we'll try to just go through this one by one. So January is going to be 3269. Go ahead and close this. 3269. Principal goes there. Chase Bank. First expense. loan to select our principal. Accept. Let's go to our next one. 3171. You'll see I kind of work weird where once I know the structure of what it's going to be, I'm just going to kind of flow through however uh, I feel like it feels best to me. I'm checking to make sure my difference, it won't let me accept it if my difference wasn't correct to begin with, but 3073 is my interest payment. Difference is 0. Go 2974. Looks good. 1, 875. Almost done. Only 3 more transactions. It's 12775. I think it was 2775, if I remember correctly. Yep. Been done like 7 of these now, and I'm still thinking about which one I have to, which account to pick. 712675. 2675, was that what it was? Yep. Our final transaction. 2570. All right.